When you're not face-to-face, it can be difficult to see eye to eye. With virtual collaboration, nearly half of remote participants feel disconnected when not in the meeting room. PanaCast 50 bridges that digital divide to reinvent your meeting experience. For a natural and like you're there feel that makes hybrid working work. Our intelligent Zoom uses a complete 180-degree field of view and dynamic framing to see and include everyone in the room and their big ideas. For less, sorry, who said that? And more, yeah, I like that. Our virtual director uses a powerful 8-microphone array to detect and track the active speaker for a cinematic feel that follows the natural flow, keeping the team connected and engaged. Our dynamic composition uses powerful AI capabilities to generate close-ups of those in the meeting room for a collaboration experience that's truly face-to-face, where everyone feels equal and like they're in the same room, even when they're not. Our built-in whiteboard content camera streams whiteboard content and the team in the meeting at the same time, giving them a front row seat from any seat. So teams perform like they're together, even when they're working from anywhere. This is collaboration in the age of hybrid working. This is video conferencing reinvented. This is Jabra PanaCast 50.
So hello and welcome to our first installment of Tech Talks with Thomas. Just note that this webinar is being recorded. I'm Sophia Martinez-Lavin from the Jabra Enterprise Marketing team, and I'm very pleased to be hosting you for the next 60 minutes or so as we take you through the PanaCast portfolio, including our newest addition, our Jabra PanaCast 50 room system. On behalf of the team in attendance for this virtual event and our Jabra colleagues around the world, I would like to thank you for joining us. Before we get started, we have some general housekeeping rules to share. We ask that you make sure that your microphone is muted for the presentation portion of the event, but you're welcome to write in the chat. We expect the event to take about 60 minutes total, as I mentioned. 45 minutes we'll be covering the product features, and then we'll have a 15-minute Q&A session. So feel free to type your questions in that Q&A box below, and we'll make sure to address those at the end of the event. So again, if you aren't sure where to find it, if you just scroll over the bottom of the screen there, you'll see the Q&A button. Now, we're all looking forward to learning more about the intelligent experiences the PanaCast portfolio delivers to you in your meeting rooms. So without further ado, it's my pleasure to introduce Thomas. With a decade of experience in transforming business communications, he will take you on a deep dive into our cutting-edge video conferencing solutions, the PanaCast 50 room system. Thomas, take it away.
Yeah, hello, good morning all together. Nice to have you all here. I saw it's really a impressive number of participants. Yeah, I will take you through the, as said, through our portfolio, and especially also the difference between rooms and what we had before. And I would say let's just go and start. So you might know Jabra. Or the whole Jabra portfolio, Jabra as an audio brand. So with all our great office solutions, speakerphones, and hybrid solutions, and also covering the call center. But since a few years, we are also in the collaboration space or in the video collaboration space, starting with the Jabra PanaCast, but now with a full portfolio of products. So we have the PanaCast 50, which will take a huge part of today's event, which is an intelligent all-in-one plug-and-play video bar. We have the new PanaCast room system, which is a full room system available for Teams rooms or Zoom rooms, including the PanaCast 50, but also the Lenovo ThinkSmart Core, making it from an accessory to a whole solution. Besides that, we still have the Jabra PanaCast, now available as a nice bundle that we call Meet Anywhere bundle for hybrid meetings on the go, very flexible, and the personal camera, the PanaCast 20, which we will also take a quick view on. So, but we are focusing really, as everyone in the world is going back to the office and into the rooms, we are really looking at the room solutions or the rooms first. So this is what Microsoft sees as future of meeting rooms. Very fancy thing, But this is kind of what Microsoft's dream of future meetings is, creating a very immersive experience, really sitting face to face. So there are the in-room participants sitting in a half circle, having a PanaCast 50 for the full 180-degree view. And you see that what Microsoft calls front row experience, with the remote participants in one row at the bottom of the screen, and the content and above it, and the chat right next to it. Having the participants really in one row at the bottom will really make the feeling like sitting next to each other or sitting in a full circle. And that is really what they believe the future will be. But we all know that not everyone will have these super fancy rooms and tons of these rooms. In the end of the day, every room is different. So we will have this super fancy room, but also maybe other room designs, and also more classically shaped rooms in all kinds of sizes. We see a lot of things changing in the rooms, and also in regards of room usage. But in the end of the day, our camera and our solutions are really prepared for that, and also for where the journey might go. What we, for example, see is that rooms that have been used with, let's say, 8, 9, 10, up to 12 people in the past are now rooms used by maybe 6 or 7 people in the room, and the other 5, 6 people remote. So the number of participants in the meeting is the same, but the number of people in the room is actually just a half or even less. This provides some challenges, but it also opens up for some new ideas or changes, like redesigning the room, rearranging the room. Because what we see in the market is that it's not always about building new fancy rooms. One of the main challenges that most of our customers see is really video enabling or enabling existing rooms for new hybrid experiences. And a lot of these things can actually be done by simply rearranging some stuff. Just one example, in the past, when you had a rectangular room, you were typically using it on the long side. So you had your screen, if you had one at all, at the short side of the wall, or at the shorter wall, and a long table with people sitting around. These rooms, you can enable them for this new experience very simple by just turning them by 90 degrees. So start using the same room, just with putting the screen from one wall to another. So have the screen on the long wall and sit in a half circle, or even in a half rectangle using your existing table. So it's not always about ripping everything out and building all new from scratch. Very often it's really just rearranging things, existing things, and just add a few parts, like, for example, our room system. That's an experience we went through ourselves in our own meeting rooms in our own offices. And we had the same experience, the same challenge, and the same learnings. And it was possible in the end of the day with some nice ideas to just rearrange the rooms to make them fit for the latest and newest work experience. So whenever you have some challenges, feel free to get into conversation with us. We can not only tell you features and facts about our products, we also already gathered some experience when it comes to room design and so on, because we went through that journey ourselves, and we've been with our customers during that journey. So that is something we can also help or talk to you. When it comes to the room, or to enabling the room for hybrid meetings, the biggest challenge today is, do I go with a BYOD, so bring your own device room, where people bring their laptop and plug it, or do we go with a room system? The this is really a big challenge, because the room systems, they are changing. They are totally changing things, or totally changing how we use meeting rooms. Fact is that if you do BYOD, there's always cabling. So the very classic thing is you have an HDMI cable for the screen or the beamer, plus a USB cable for maybe camera and speakers. And if the meeting is longer or your laptop is not the newest one, maybe an additional power cable. Some might say, yeah, you can do one. If we have USB-C, you can do a one cord solution with one USB-C cord, but that, at the end of the day, it only works if all your laptops are fully USB-C enabled. And it also needs to add additional hardware, like a display hub, things like that. So you have additional mechanical connections, additional hardware, additional cables in the game, with always a slight risk to fail or not work as intended. And it goes even further. When you connect all these things, there are settings to be done on the laptop. So if your actual users are not that tech savvy, it really can be a challenge. You might know that's a lot of people do not fully get the difference between duplicated screens or extended screens, or when you have an extended screen, which one is one and which one is two, and which is the left and which is the right, and all these challenges that you go through when you connect an additional HDMI or USB-C cable to your computer. So it's great, especially when we come to users, where the users are not the tech savvy guys. It can create lots of challenges. But it is very flexible on the other side. So you can simply connect everything which has USB-C and display connection, and use any platform that you want. On the other hand, we have these room systems where you just have a touchscreen controller on your table, and your meeting is already there. So you enter the room, you see the name of your meeting on that touch screen, and you just tap with your finger onto the join, and the room will join the meeting with all the connected room resources. This is really also, when you look at this touch interface, this is a challenge that we might all run through, and that we might even see more in the future. Because another story that we see, or another fact we see with the very young generation today, when they start their job, it's not like in the past when you just taught them your tools and your applications. Some of the very young people, you have to go a step back, and you have to start them to tell them how to actually use a computer. What is a mouse? It has two buttons, a left one and a right one, and they do different things, and you can press them once and you can press them twice, and it does different things. Because a lot of the very young people, they never used a computer in their life. They had a gaming console and touch devices, tablets, and their smartphone. They literally never worked with a computer. And that is a challenge we already saw in real life, and we might see more and more. And that is also part of this room story, making it easy for this kind of users by adding a touch device, which they are used to, and which they can use, and which is with a very, very easy user interface. So BYOD has its flexibility, but as the internet says, the struggle is real. While you have this just this touch device in a room system for Zoom or Microsoft Teams rooms, and all you see, or all the user interacts with, is this touch display. Everything else is hidden. So there is no hardware, there's actually no connectors to deal with. So looking into detail with the scenarios, you have this very classic BYOD scenario where you just, you connect your resources to your computer. So there is a camera connected through USB, and there is a screen or beamer connected through HDMI in a very small room with limited resources. And if your users are have a certain level of nerdiness, I would say, this can be used. It's super flexible. You can use any platform that is on the PC. And one of the other advantages is that the user uses his very own PC that he's used to and that he knows how to use it. And also the platform and the client he's using is things that he's using. So when you use a room, in this case, or with this scenario, it's actually like doing the same presentation or the same meeting from home office. So you have actually the same device. You're using a USB connected camera. It's just a different type of, and instead of your second screen on your desk, you use a screen or a beamer mounted to the wall. But everything is from the pure usage and the buttons you need to press, it's the same as at home. So you're quite used to, and you know the platform and you know the usage. But even this scenario can create challenges. For example, on the USB side, what if we are, because of the size of the room or the architecture of the room, what if there is no simple one USB cord? What if the distance is more than 5 meters? Or what if there is a hub involved? Or what if there is any other special need involved? Then challenges are actually beginning to start. We can help here. So we, for example, we offer a cable guide with a bunch of extenders and hubs that we really lab tested. You might say, yeah, USB or HDMI is standard. So every accessory following the standard should work, but you really have to put this should into bold letters, because what we see is that in practice, unfortunately, it doesn't. So it makes sense to use stuff which is already tested and proved to work. But even if it comes to that, we can help you with that cable guide that we have online. And we also have a pre-sales team with lots of experience and best practice tips that can help you if there are any challenges beyond, let's say, beyond standard cabling. Another thing that you see very, very often and that is very popular is adding an additional device for using the rooms. So you enter the room again with your laptop, but you have a sharing device. It can be a barcode unit, immersive, Wolf Vision, Screen Beam, name them, all the major brands. We are compatible with all of them, so it's absolutely no problem, because at the end of the day, you have your screen connected and you have your USB connected camera. As it follows USB standards, it's working with all major brands with full feature set, and then you connect to that sharing device, which can happen either through a software that is installed on your PC, through the Bluetooth or wireless LAN, or through these fancy wireless presentation dongles that you all, I believe, already have seen in the past from the major brands. One nice thing also for this scenario is when it comes to the features that our camera can deliver, that I will show you soon. One thing nice to know is that all these features are really camera based. So all of our experiences and features are created inside the camera on the compute unit in the camera, which means that you do not lose them just because you have another connection scenario. As it is created in the camera, it will still be fully available when you connect the camera to something else than a computer with an installed software. So all our features that we have do not need additional software on the PC. They're running in the camera through the USB cord. So you will always have 100% of the full feature set, no limitation, just because you use, let's say, a non-USB PC connection. That is a nice to know if you are interested, or if this is something where you might go. Again, if there are questions around that compatibility, best practices, experiences, and whatever, feel free to come back to us. My pre-sales team is happy to help. And then we come to the PanaCast room system, which is technically the same camera, but there is a room system. It's actually a small computer, a compute unit, in this case, a Lenovo ThinkSmart Core. You might know that. It can, technically, the camera can also be used with other room systems. So if you have a Dell room system or a HP Slice, you can also connect to PanaCast 50 because it's Teams Rooms certified, so it will always fully work. It's just our very own room solution that we offer as a set, is running on the Lenovo ThinkSmart Core, but it also runs on all other room solutions. And especially when you think about Zoom, where you do not have these hardware limitations, you actually can run Zoom Room on nearly any kind of computer by just installing the app, but it will fully work. So the camera will be connected to that compute unit. That compute unit will also be connected to the other room resources like screens or beamers. It's all cabled and all through the cord, and all the user will see is the control unit, which is this small touchscreen unit. And this one is, then is the one that the user interacts with. So the main difference is the missing of the personal device. So it is really the experience or the what you need to enter a meeting is kind of the same as a presence meeting, a non-hybrid meeting. So the only thing the user needs to do is he needs to be in the right room at the right time, which has been always like that even before the invention of hybrid meetings. So you just need to find your room at the correct time and be there and do, if you're the first one to enter the room, you need to tap that button on the touch controller to actually start the meeting. But other than that, it's really super simple, nothing to cable, no prerequisites, no device to carry, no battery to take care of or whatever. You still can use your device, but this is optional. For example, Teams rooms allow sharing through a cord or wireless, so that you can share content from your personal device to the room. But it's optional. It's just if you need to put content into the meeting, as long as you're just participant of the meeting and just listening and talking, you do not need a device. You just need yourself as a person in that room. Again, as the two scenarios before, when it comes to questions, whatever, my team is happy to help you with all of this. In the end, there are a lot of benefits using a room system. It's super easy. It's very easy to maintain. It might be a little more challenging in the initial setup compared to using a sharing device. It's nearly the same level of complexity, I would say. So no difference at all. But once it is installed and up and running, it requires very, very low maintenance because these systems are designed to do most of the things themselves. So it does its own updates during the night, it restarts during the night, it's even updating the connected device. So if you have the PanaCast 50 as a Teams Room certified device, the Microsoft Teams Room will actually take care about the firmware and keeping the firmware to the latest stage. So there's really no big maintenance task. It's just installing, let it run, and from there it's running. On the other hand, it's a little limited. There is limitation to the platform. It's typically limited to the platform you selected. So either Microsoft or Zoom, both offer some kind of cross-join compatibility, at least to some of the other major platforms. But when it comes to smaller platforms, you're kind of lost with this. That's where the BYOD comes in. The BYOD is fully platform independent. So as long as you have the application on your PC and just use the accessories of the room or the resources of the room as cable connected accessories, you're not limited in any kind. You can use it with every platform. So these are really a lot of things that you have to keep in mind when you do a decision. I put this all together. You will be able to download the full slide deck after the meeting, so I will not go through all these things in detail. It's just the to put it together. Both scenarios have their pros and their cons. From a certain size of company, I would say maybe there is no one-size-fits-all solution. Sometimes you might do exceptions for different teams. Just as an example, if you look, for example, at the automotive industry, a lot of teams and users will interact with each other, so they will always be on the platform this company uses. But there might be teams working with subcontractors, with other companies, maybe even with startups or designing companies, which sometimes tend to use maybe other platforms or preferring other platforms. So some teams might have the need for cross-platform joining, and you might go with a BYOD for them. Just out of pure interest, Michelle, please launch the poll number 1, just that we get maybe a little picture of what you as a person like.
Yes, so like Thomas said, we have a poll up on the screen here. So go ahead and make your selections.
Yeah.
And we'll be sharing the results at the end of the call.
Correct. So the first one is really, what do you prefer as a person? The super flexible but tech-savvy BYOD or the room system? And second question, because the answer might be different, if you had to choose just one for your company, which one would you select then? And we will share the results later. So let's have a closer look at the center of all presented things. The PanaCast 50, our plug-and-play video bar. So really the major features are its flexibility. So it's really future-proof for new ways of working. It's future-proof for changing platforms and environments, because the device itself is not limited or linked to any platform. It's a USB device, and you can use it with literally any platform. So even if you go with one scenario or one platform today and move to another one tomorrow, you can keep your camera and you can keep your room resources. You just change the platform below. We have a very user-friendly out-of-the-box experience. So the factory default of the camera are based on best practices and usable for 99% of room architecture. So for deployment, if you do not have any super special needs in the room, it's really just mounting the camera, plugging the USB cable, and there you go. As already said, you always will have the full feature set. So no matter which scenario or system you go, you will always have all the camera features. So the intelligent zoom, the virtual director, which is tracking the active speaker, and also the dynamic composition feature. They are all camera-based, delivered by the camera, and you will always have them. Even sharing of a physical whiteboard in the room does not need software for the usage. So if you use the whiteboard feature of our camera, it's just once that you need a software. Our Jabra Direct, it's to show the camera where your whiteboard is. So you literally mark the 4 corners of your whiteboard and save that position into the camera. And once it's saved there, you will be able to use the feature, so to actually share the physical whiteboard into the meeting as a content. This feature will be available even without a computer and without any additional software. It can all be controlled through our remote. So the physical small puck remote, or also the virtual remote delivered through the Sound Plus app on any Android or iOS smartphone close to the camera. We have really industry-leading intelligent features. So if you compare the performance of the features to other products within the same price range, it's really obviously that they work really, really good. We heard, or I as a person literally heard from a customer that he only knows one device in the market who does it more smooth, but it's 20 times the price of a PanaCast 50. So when you want it better, you really need to add a lot more money, which then might not be reasonable for deployment in a higher number of rooms. And one of the main things is really this wall-to-wall coverage through our 180-degree experience. So we have really 100% detection, and it's not only data detection, but also it's the optical information. I would to go into that a little deeper. So one of the main benefits that you might already be aware or have heard of is that 180-degree is space saving. So if you have less than 180-degree, 140, 120, whatever, and want to have coverage of all the participants, you lose some room because the camera would not be able to see everyone within this, let's say, this red covered area. So you have to move your table away from the wall to make the camera be able to see everyone. With 180-degree, you can save that space because you can simply move the table to the wall, which is a quite common setup that we see now, this U-shaped rooms, especially for the smaller rooms. So yeah, rooms from, let's say, around 3 to, like in this picture, 7 people. This U-shaped thing is very space saving and we see this very popular also out in the field with our customers. So first of all, it's space saving, but there is also other benefits. It's, for example, the optical distortion. As we use a free camera system with 3 normal lenses instead of 1 wide angle lens, we have a normal view onto the participants and into the room. If you compare that to a wide angle lens, you see that there is optical distortion. This is actual screenshot of a real room with real people with camera in the same position. What you see in the picture above is the typical optical distortion that a wide angle lens creates. So if you look at the guy at the left side, you see that he has 2 arms in different sizes. Same for the woman. Also for the man in the middle, he's kind of, taller and smaller than he actually is, while looking at the same scenario through our camera head with 3 normal lenses, this optical distortion is not there. So people look very natural, even people at the very, very side edges of the room. Some might say, yeah, but you can optically correct the wide angle view of a wide angle lens, like even my car does it when I look at a reverse camera. It's using wide angle lens, but it does optical correction or computes optical correction. Technically, this is correct. Some cameras do that, but you lose information because if you have, or if your actual picture is pushed to, let's say, 20 pixels height or width, you can optically correct it and make it 40 pixels to make it appear in the correct size. But the 40 pixels will only contain the optical information from the original 20 pixels. So you just correct in size, but you cannot recalculate the information within the picture. And the optical information is not only sharpness that the other far end will see. The optical information is also very important when you want to do something with the picture. Some other features, like for example, we do with the people count or the dynamic composition, when there are algorithms working on that picture, trying to do something with the people, point them out, zoom on them or whatever. And this will not be possible if this information or if the information level is too low. So it's really far beyond the things you might see at the first space. And that's why we use this free lens camera head and take this effort of really stitching these pictures together to keep all the information together and to have really all information in one place. Because when you go beyond the picture to the other features like people count, room analytics, and so on, these features only make sense if you really cover the room. If I have dead angles in the room where I cannot see people, I cannot count them. So actually, the feature in a non-180-degree camera is kind of useless because the data the information is based on is not reliable. And this is really all about not just these analytics features, but also about the optical information as said. So what you see in the lower picture is really this really in-room view or the far-end view into a room. Like a colleague of mine always says, and I really like this sentence, the camera acts like a seat at the desk. So it really looks like looking into the room, sitting in the room. For smaller rooms, or depending on the number of participants, there is another feature that you might like. It's the what we call the dynamic composition. That is not showing the full room as a panoramic picture, but that's cropping single users out of this panoramic picture and show them as single tiles, as single users in a view that you are used to from other virtual meetings. This is a very useful feature, especially when the number of users is, let's say, around 4 or just a little above 4, because what we do is we arrange it in up to 4 tiles. So it can be not just 1, okay, but also 2, 3, or 4. If people are so close together that the camera cannot separate them, we will automatically group them and show them as a group of 2 people or maybe a group of 3 people. But what our camera will never do, we will never cut people in half because that really hurts, especially the people that are cut into half. So this is a really nice feature, which creates a very, very cool, what we call, or what the market calls, meeting equity, because in the panoramic picture, if there are additional hybrid participants, then the people in the panoramic one appear smaller, but with the dynamic composition, we break that and we also gain back that spaces. Because another thing we see in rooms today is as the room still has the same size, but not the same number of people, because half of the people is remote. A lot of people are saying or using this to have a little more space between the people. So it's not only about social distancing, it's also feeling better when the next one is not super close to you. And with the dynamic composition, you just remove that empty space between 2 people. And now new to come to the end here with the PanaCast 50 is the PanaCast 50 room system, which contains the camera with all the features we talked about and why we do it. With that ThinkSmart core unit, compute unit, and room controller. Benefits for you, it's easy to use. The user does not have to do any cabling or any settings. He really just presses the button with the name of his meeting. It's a full room solution. So the only missing thing is the video output device. So you just connect your existing screen or beamer and everything else is in the box. And it is one Jabra article and one Jabra SKU. So this PanaCast 50 room system is available through all the Jabra channels as a Jabra SKU. So even with a Lenovo piece of hardware inside, there is no need for Lenovo partner to have a full room system on a Windows platform. So these are really the main benefits. And also when it comes to support, that it's just one single point of contact, as it is a Jabra product. You can always approach to us and let us sort it out and get it fixed. So this is really a very nice feature to have it all in one without the need to buy different products from different channels and then having a challenge to get them all together. When it needs to be more flexible, I already said it, then we have also the a flexible solution. We call it Meet Anywhere. It's a PanaCast Classic. You might know that product. It's the same 180-degree camera head, but it's in this case, yeah, just the camera. Audio enabled by adding one of our famous speak units, and it all comes in a nice carry bag or pouch to carry it around. It's super flexible. You have different mounting options. So there is a stand, but you can also mount it on your screen, or the stand is mounted through a standard camera mount. So you can also use third-party camera mounts. There is this carry case for safe storage and transport. We still have the 180-degree field of view. That is either to include everyone if you have a meeting in a non-equipped room, or in a hotel room or a hotel conference room, for example. You're still possible to include everyone into the meeting, but it can also be interesting for single use, for example, in the education field, because the 180-degree field of view gives you space to move around. The intelligent zoom will always focus on you, but it's possible to stand up, to walk around in the room, to show things on a whiteboard or on a flip chart or whatever, because everything is in the view of the camera, and you don't have to move your camera or use a multi-camera setup or whatever. As it is all USB plug and play, it's also, again, very, very user-friendly, and the intelligent features are still there. So in this case, it's the intelligent zoom that follows you or the group wherever you move. When it's more personal and just one, we have our PanaCast 20 in our portfolio, which is, we call it personal device. Again, very flexible when it comes to mounting options. It can be placed on a screen, but it also has that screw mount for a regular camera mount. It's once you've seen it or touched it, it's really great when it comes to optics and haptics. It's kind of out of one piece of aluminum, screen mount, tripod mount, privacy cover is all integrated into the aluminum housing. So there is no additional plastic accessories to carry around or to lose or to scratch each other. It's just the cord, which is the accessory, which is not fixed to the camera. It's a standard USB-C cord, but as it is plugged to the camera and not fixed to the camera, it also gives you some additional flexibility to use shorter or longer cords if your experience or if your use case is not standard. Again, we have intelligent features built in. So we have intelligent zoom, so you can move around. I'm using this camera. So you see when I move a little to the left or to the right, the camera will just follow me and always keep me centered, and will always keep me kind of the same size. On top of that, there is an intelligent, on top of the intelligent, there's a picture-in-picture feature, which allows you to show small physical objects while still being in the picture as a full person. And coming soon with a software update, there is another nice thing, which is driving privacy to a new level. We can do background blur on the device. So you know that background blur feature from some of the major platforms, but the PanaCast 20 will be able to do it on the device, which has really some nice benefits. First of all, it's energy saving. as our chipset is designed for video and video calculating, we can do it with around 100 milliwatts on our device, while your platform, when you're using it, is typically using around 20 watts, which on a regular laptop is sometimes about up to 30% of CPU load. And as the trend goes to even smaller and weaker laptops and more battery runtime, because the world is moving towards the cloud, you do not need calculating power on your device, because your device is just the interface to your applications in the cloud, and all your processing power is in the cloud. This is really a nice thing, which also makes that feature future-proof. You might have seen that or experienced that yourself if your laptop is not a gaming laptop, but maybe a weaker machine, and you use background blur or background replacement. You sometimes really can feel and hear the additional processing power that your computer needs, because it's getting loud, it's getting warm. And if we talk about very weak laptops, like Chromebooks or the things that you see in educational areas, or when it comes to thin clients, then it might be even worse. Another thing is that it's platform independent. So some platforms do not even have that feature in the client or in the application. So you're kind of forced to show your sleeping room or your kitchen when you're working at home. When you do it on the device, it always works. And with the capability of management, also the company can ensure that this feature is enabled and used, so you can kind of force privacy into your environment. A thing I really heard several times, meanwhile, from especially very big companies, is that they are going hybrid and people are working from home and they are using video a lot, but they still have a strict no video policy in their offices because of the risk that someone walks in the background, which would then be visible. What is, if you take it very serious, a privacy breach. With having a device, having the background blur on the device, all these challenges are solved. So it's not just blurring, we can also replace it by a solid color. For example, if you do solid color replacement by green, the actual result in the video stream will be like using a green screen. So if you want to use additional features of your software or application that normally requires the setup of a green screen, you might not need it because any additional picture processing will work super well, because the camera already delivers a green screen-like picture with the user cut out. So this is really where the journey goes with PanaCast 20. And yeah, I would say be aware of 2023. Our portfolio might increase, so we still have a lot of ideas that you will see maybe sooner than later. Now I'm through with that very quick view over our portfolio and the idea of room systems versus BYOD. I thank you for listening and for staying awake. And if there are any questions, we will go through them. So I will maybe just start with those that I already see.
Exactly. So go ahead and if you have any questions, pop them into that Q&A tab at the bottom there, and we'll go through them now. So Thomas, there's a couple that we have in here for you. And we have a curious question here. Do you know if Jabra is looking at a larger room solution?
This is something that we are, let's say, we have been looking into always. But yeah, let's say we started with the smaller rooms because they are simply more. So it's the larger rooms, they are less in the market. And also this is a space which is already quite covered. So that was not where we wanted to start, because that might have been a very, very hard start. But it's not that we do not have them in mind. So we are looking into the large rooms. We are thinking about the large rooms, and we Today, we increased our portfolio from 1 Jabra PanaCast into a portfolio of 4 devices. And I can promise you that it will grow further than 4. And yeah, we are looking into the other scenarios too, but nothing that we can already talk about.
Right, you keep your secrets.
Sorry.
All right, next question. A good question here is, can we integrate the room setup PanaCast 50 meeting room along with the Speak 750 or 710 to cover an even bigger room? So, you know, combining those different audio options as well.
Yeah, combining them is not possible. To be honest, that is also not something we are looking into with PanaCast 50, because the experience shows that with our beamforming microphones and speech level and volume level normalization that we use inside the device, the camera is able to cover a lot of space and also big ranges. When you have, let's say, if it's not the acoustical worst room ever made, then it should work for any room with the intended size and even bigger. I can just say that, for example, our meeting room that we have in our Rosenheim office, it's really not the typical hybrid room. We have a window front on one side and the inside glass wall on the opposite side. So really 2 opposing glass walls, which are acoustically not perfect. And it's also a very big room. It is 6 by 9 meters, something like that. But the camera is still able to cover the full room. Although it's bigger than certification and also not being perfect from acoustics, it still works absolutely fine. And that's why we are now, at least for PanaCast 50, not looking into that. What you can always do is not extending the camera, but using maybe existing devices. For example, if you have a room which already has ceiling speakers or microphones, you're welcome to use existing audio devices that you already have and just use the camera as a camera with all the intelligent features. Because the speaker tracking, for example, works through our microphone array. The camera detects the speaker through the angle where the audio comes from, but that feature is internally in the camera, so it will still work even if you do not use the microphone with your solution. The camera is still able to use its own microphone for its features, and you can just select another audio source in your application or in your solution. That is always possible, and we also already did that. I hope that answers the question.
Yeah, I think that was very thorough. Okay, so this is a quick question, just to reiterate, what was the max range coverage of the P50 video bar?
It depends a little on the room. So, you know, the certification and how Micro sees it and how the certification is, it's this 4.5 meters, but by experience, it works far beyond and even double the range. As said, our meeting room, our not perfect meeting room in the Rosenheim office is 6 by 9 meters, and it still works. So you can, if you stand in the absolute opposite corner, the camera is not able to zoom your just upper body and face. It will show you as a whole because you're far beyond the zooming capability of the video. You will still be visible, and the audio is still perfect. So that's the experience we have. So it always depends a little on the room, but that's also, again, for example, why we offer sample units or demo units. So if you have challenges, let's say beyond the certification size, feel free to contact us. My team has already gained a lot of practical experience. So if we can just take a look into the room, hybrid typically is enough. If we just have let's say a clear picture of the room, we can tell you it will work, it might work, or it will not work. And other than that, you can always go with a sample unit and just try it. And I can promise you that you will be surprised how far you can go beyond the certification.
Yeah, okay. Now, this is a great question. So as resellers and integrators, there's a lot of choices for different room solutions and different room systems. Why should we choose Jabra essentially in the Jabra bundle?
That's really a great question.
Yeah.
I think partly already answered. The one thing is that with Lenovo as a partner, we really have, let's say, a brand and a vendor that you don't have to talk about. So when it comes to reliability and support and warranty and the processes behind that, this is really a great partner which really fits our philosophy. On top of that, not every customer is a Lenovo customer, and and the channels you are already using are maybe not Lenovo channels. You might go with your regular hardware through other channels. And when it comes to rooms, you might still want a Windows platform which is manageable for your existing deployment systems and so on. And that's really where this goes, because what we see, especially in Europe and especially with the bigger platforms, there is still some, let's say, sentiment around Android, not by the collaboration teams looking for cameras and room systems, but often by their colleagues from IT and IT security that do not always like to add an additional platform to their environment. That does not mean that it's bad. There are a lot of benefits also on that platform. We are also looking into that direction and monitoring it. But yeah, sometimes people and customers feel more comfortable with a Windows platform. And that's why we chose this one as a start, that you really have things that you know that you can cover and where you can provide maintenance with your existing IT teams and your existing IT tools, but still have that room experience. I hope that answered your question. And all, as I said, all out of one, all out of one box. So not buying the room system there and maybe a touch panel or controller there and another camera there, plus cables and so on. It's really, I want to go with rooms. I want to keep it as easy as possible with Windows that my IT works or my IT knows how to handle and knows how to set up. Buy this box, have one Jabra article with one warranty on the whole box. Just plug your cables and there you go.
Exactly. So it's just that unity and ease of use. Well, correct. Thank you so extremely much, Thomas. And we're going to go ahead and wrap up the session. We do see that there's a few more questions that we won't be able to have time to get to today, but don't worry, we can answer those through email. And we just want to again reiterate our gratitude to you, Thomas, and to all of you that are in attendance here today. And again, thank you so very much. And we will be sending a follow-up email with the recording of the webinar so that you can go through it, send it to colleagues of yours that weren't able to make it. And yes, any questions, feel free to reach out. So thank you so very much and have a great rest of your day.